Meet coal. Coal over here powers around 75% of Australia. 75%. That is a lot of power. Therefore, it is incredibly important to Australia. And if all of a sudden it disappeared, the entire country would be in a state of dismay. So you must assume that it is incredibly important to the economy. Without coal, though, our planet would most likely be a lot healthier than it currently is.
Explanation of coal and how it is formed. Coal is a black or brownish black rock with a high amount of carbon and hydrocarbons. Coal is actually classified as a non-renewable energy because it takes millions of years to form. Coal is formed because it contains the energy that has been stored by plants that lived up to hundreds of millions of years ago in places like swampy forests. And over time, layers upon layers of dirt and rocks cover the plants. This results in pressure and heat turning the plants into a substance that we know called coal.
What is coal used for? Coal is primarily used as fuel to generate electric power, as well as other things such as heating and steel manufacturing. In Australia, Queensland uses the most coal. This is because Queensland is so large and vast that a high amount of energy is required. In coal-fired power plants specifically, the process of the coal converting into energy starts with it being burned. Then the heat produced by the combustion made by the coal is used. The heat is used to turn water into high-pressure steam, which drives the turbine, which creates electricity to be distributed and used. Where is coal mined in Australia? In Australia, coal is mined mainly in Queensland and New South Wales. Specifically, Australia's black coal producing basins are the Bowen in Queensland and the Sydney basins in New South Wales. Brown coal is also mined. Australia's brown coal producing basins are the Murray Basin, which spreads across Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia, and the Yukon basins, which spread across the coast of South Australia and Western Australia. All states in Australia have at least one coal mine. 70% of all coal mined is exported mostly to East Asia. At 2016 production levels, Australia's current recoverable EDR at the time of black coal is expected to last 125 years, which isn't that long in the big scheme of life.
Minerals that coal contains. Coal contains many minerals, and one of those is quartz. It does in fact contain quartz, but in the form of sand grains. As well, quartz is a mineral consisting of silicon dioxide. It is colorless and transparent, or it is colored and hexagonal. Large amounts of quartz sand are used in the manufacture of glass. Quartz is also the most abundant mineral in the Earth's crust. As well, quartz is extremely resistant to weathering, so it's highly resistant to physical and chemical weathering. In coal, pyrite is the most common sulfide mineral, and is a major source of sulfur in coal. Pyrite is a brass yellow mineral. It is the most common sulfide mineral. Pyrite will form at high and low temperatures in sedimentary rocks and occurs usually in small quantities.
Since coal makes a pretty big chunk of Australia's revenue, if we just all of a sudden decided to stop mining it, it would have a huge economic impact, but at the same time, our environment would benefit from this big time. Forests would start to grow back, pollution rates would plummet, and we would take into consideration more sustainable power plant options. Coal has a huge financial and economic impact on Australia. Without it, Australia would not be the country it is today. Without coal, the world would be a much cleaner place, as we'd be using more sustainable energy options, but even still, we would have found more alternatives, such as oil. Overall, coal is a very important resource to Australia, and without it, we would not be the country we are today.